Hi, it's Seth Gillan, born in Hamilton, Ontario. Been here since '94. I'm in Scabs off playing bass and trying to do vocals for a power violence project called Gorged. So for a personal influence of mine would actually be my stepdad. He's the reason I got into music and everything, always been encouraging. He's a Elvis impersonator. And so from there was just stepping into the life of like, hey, this is the old kind of rock and roll style music. And then building up from there, listening to Elvis and all those different performances and seeing live karaoke, and just kind of building it from there. But then musically, the main influence for me comes from a lot of the more blues rock players, Robert Johnson and Leadbelly. And for whatever reason, that was one of the music class in grade 8 was doing a lot of the blues, and a lot of it just stuck with me. Hearing the sounds, the way the pentatonics were, just everything in the line, just whatever it was, it clicked the most with me. So what started off more so aligned with getting me into the lighter to the heavier, from punk to the metal to the hardcore, that kind of pipeline, so to speak, honestly is kind of start with the Aquabats for punk, just the goofy ska, the wearing the costume outfits, and then just cheering, listening, getting picked up, and then kind of moving on to Goldfinger, to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack, the first 3 games, and then once I started hearing Rancid and the heavier stuff on that extreme, the more extremer end, and I started wanting to look into what it is, the differences, and then from there the jump between listening to NoFX and American Hi-Fi and a lot of those bands, then jumping into System of a Down, like early 2000s, I'm gonna say 2004, just boom, once the Hypnotized album came out, changed my life forever. I wanted something heavy, I wanted something just to keep it going, that fast, hearing blast beats really for the first time was just mind-blowing. Hearing the breakdown for the Prison song, and then from there just wanting it from like that hardcore-y punk style of the chaoticness to the more try to get into the death metal stuff, then the power metal, and then from there it wasn't until hearing Code Orange Kids that it was like, oh wow, I like this. And then discovering, Madball and Body Count, hearing like Ice Cube for the first time back, I want to say, when I was 2007, 2008 kind of thing, was like, whoa. So the first concert I remember attending was, I may have been about 5 or 6 years old. I want to say junior, maybe senior kindergarten, but it was a class field trip to the Ontario place in downtown Hamilton here, and it was to see Stompin' Tom Connors. So that was the very first one. I remember the good old hockey game, everyone getting into it, just clapping and stomping. Now, the very first metal and hardcore kind of punk show that I remember was, it was an impromptu generator party. I was at Sauble Beach at my grandmother's cottage, and down on the beach they had a tent and could hear some loud chords kind of get strummed, and it was what's kind of going on down there. And next thing you know, I'm at my very first metal show in my very first pit, and of course I get knocked over, and immediately I'm helped up by these complete strangers. And from there it was it felt like I was in a sense of place where I knew I belonged.
What band it was? What band it was?
The band was Dead by Dawn. I want to say 2006, maybe? I just remember them on MySpace. The MySpace days. Alright, so some of my favorite shows, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, 100%. If you get the chance, you gotta go see them. The Fire.
Is that what does Metallica?
No, they're the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They do a lot of the Christmas carol songs with an orchestra, but with like shredding guitar and fire and smoke. But like second and third row seats are only like $30 to $40, so it's actually reasonable. But you're only going to see them. But it's like a nice, almost 2-hour performance of orchestra meets like cool shredding and guitar. When I saw them, the guitarist who was in Skid Row was there that time, kind of. So I was like, all right, cool. Second show that I thought that blew my mind 100% was Vile Creature, Yob, and Bellwitch. Well, it was Bellwitch second, but when Yob played, they did a 2-song encore, but because it's Yob, it ended up being like 45 minutes for a 2-song encore. And then the next one, 100%, was it was this band from Japan, Hexvoid. They were playing on a Wednesday. It was a Wednesday night at the Doors in Hamilton here, and we didn't think anything of it. But next thing you know, my mom comes to the venue and she's got those Molson Canadian t-shirts from the beer packaging, like a bunch of like little miniature Canadian flags, and goes over to these guys, is like, oh yeah, my son, being me, told me that you guys were from Japan, so I got you some stuff to welcome you. We're supposed to be here sooner, but we kind of got stuck in traffic a little. And from there, it was the way the band shifted was they didn't think it was going to be a good night because it's a Wednesday too. I think that was the best night that they played in North America, 100%. That little room, they played 7 songs for an encore. I've never encountered that from any other band since, just that energy for them to keep it going. Like, last call's at 2. Here we are almost at 3:30.
Doors Pub, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I filmed that one.
Yeah. So I'd say the craziest thing at a show would be with the drummer for Scabs off. He jumps around, he gets going, he gets crazy, he gets hyped up, he gets the energy, everyone's going, he's the hype man you want the most. He jumps up, grabs a metal bar and starts dangling off of it. Well, next thing you know, some guy comes over, yanks him down, smacks his elbow right on the floor, just completely like, oh damn, immediately, as soon as stuff's going, like he falls down, boom, without pop, beer bottle comes flying across the scene. Next thing you know is people just start running into him, fists are kind of flying, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's certainly something else. And then the other crazy thing would be one concert goer indulging themselves in some kind of narcotic, coming to our show. As we play our traditional anal cunt cover, they decided to get naked because they thought that, coincidentally, the same gentleman who threw the beer bottle across the room, the gentleman who was on narcotics, thought he was a ninja. And so the only honorable way to throw down with the ninja was to get naked. And that's why he got naked. Then realized he was naked, went into the corner, and crawled into the fetal position for the rest of our set. Yeah, that sounds No, that is accurate. Alright, so we're going to, first band for myself would be in high school. Trice, T-R-I-S. If I remember correctly, we still have a song on YouTube called Gas Powered Comatose. From there, I moved out to Edmonton for a few months where I was in a very, very fast punk band called Piss Hitler and the Meat Fucks.
Nice.
And then I'd say it was about 6 years after that of not really doing anything, then getting a message out of the blue from my buddy to start a doom band. And then we became the Clergy of Dagon. And then nothing really happened from that, but we did do a demo. Then from Clergy of Dagon, I got invited to Swamp God. Broke up maybe 2-3 weeks after. Me talk about being bass player and playing a few rehearsals and auditions. Then I found on Kijiji they were looking for a bass player, and that's how I ended up on Scabs Off. And then from Scabs Off, I devolved into solo dungeon synth stuff, going by the moniker of Forsaken Oath, doing that kind of synthy, black metal intro kind of music, and then starting vocals for Power Violence Gorged Upon. So what I like about being a musician the most is how I can just be myself and just be free. I love meeting people and dressing up and being just kind of flamboyant and extravagant, but at the same time having the understanding that it's not just the musician as well, it's being a performer, and that this is a concert, so it's a performance. And even if you're sick and there's only one person in the crowd, then you want it to be their show. So I just love the engaging aspect of it with the people and the social and the scenes of everything and how it all connects and how everyone inevitably knows everyone because it's a small world. And the one thing I do hate most is music theory. Favorite food, homemade, home-cooked pierogies. But first they have to be oiled nice lightly in a pan, fried a little, crisp on both sides, then put into a glass like casserole dish, sprinkled of cheese, fresh cut garlic, as well as not a lot of garlic, just a little bit. But we're looking for more so now fresh onion, green onion, on top more cheese, bacon. Boom. Pierogies, bacon, cheese, sour cream, favorite food. My most useless talent, and I'm most proud of it, is my encyclopedic memory. My ability to remember facts, history, and just about everything compiled into my brain. The only downfall is I remember everything. I'd like to give a huge thank you and a big shout out to Steve from Stronger Than Ever Videos for putting this together. Without him, couldn't ever get this done. Keep supporting the channel.